they're playing an Eagles team who, yes, they came off a win last week against the Giants, but they played poorly, right? The first half, they turned it around. They had lost 3 of 4 going into that game. Have they really turned things around, the Eagles?
I don't know. Like, I have a lot of trouble figuring out this Eagles team because on one hand, they've got talent all over the place on offense. Like, if I was picking an offense just on paper in the league, I don't know how many I'm taking before Philly. With Wentz at quarterback, a guy who's playing at an MVP level last year and is progressively getting better and better as this season goes, although it hasn't really panned out in terms of wins. And the weapons he's got, I mean, Ertz is as good as it gets. That he might be the best tight end in football. He's clearly having the best year of a tight end in football, on pace for 122 catches, which is nuts. Golden Tate, I've loved forever. They traded for him a couple of weeks ago. Alshon Jeffrey on the outside. Their backs are good, although Josh Adams, one of their backs, got hurt, I believe, in practice on either Friday or Saturday, and he could potentially be out. I think he might have actually been ruled out. I can't remember exactly.
That's big, by the way.
Yeah, that dude's good. He's big.
And he wasn't even
fast.
drafted. Even drafted.
Like, I remember watching the Giants game back last week, and one of the first series of the game, it wound up getting called back for a holding, but he has a 52-yarder down the sidelines. You're like, wait, who the hell is 33? Why do all of their backs always score? And he's big, he's fast, he's physical, but he might be out for this game. You guys can double check the injury report, or I can try to pull it up here in a second.
So if he is, does that mean Clement is the starter?
Yeah, Clement, but Darren Sproles is back for them. Gotcha. So they've still got weapons around Wentz where they can get the ball in space to their playmakers, and there are a ton of playmakers. So this defense is going to have to step up and tackle and do the things that they have not done nearly as well over the last couple of weeks, or you can give up a ton of points. I also don't know what to make of the Giants game last week, because all of a sudden the Giants are playing kind of well. They're not great, obviously, but they've kind of figured a few things out on their offensive line, I guess, and they've still got Beckham and Shepard, and they put up 31 on a Bears team yesterday, albeit in overtime, but still, 28 regulation. That the Bears defense is considered one of the better ones in football, and the Bears we thought were good, and I don't think the Bears are bad. I think the Giants are actually playing decent football right now, so I look at that Giants-Eagles game a little bit differently. But as you said, had they lost it 4 in a row, so clearly they're not playing well. Clearly there's something missing, even if it is hard to pin down exactly what. And as you mentioned, the Monday Night Horror show has been real, including last year in Philly, where they got absolutely housed by that team. So I don't know what to make of all that. Some of the record stuff on Monday night is simply the Redskins haven't been that good, and a lot of the teams they've played are, and of course they've lost most of those games. But the dramatic level at which they've been bad is pretty insane. As you said, the 1-8 and 2-14.
Craig, the Redskins' run defense has cratered over the last 5 or 6 games. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Coach Peterson lean on the ground game. You mentioned the fact that Adams is banged up, might not play, but even if he's not 100%, if I'm Peterson, I'm going to look and see what this Skins run defense has done over the last month plus, and I'm going to run the ball 25 times at them.
Yeah, I would too. I would absolutely try to get a heavy run game going and play action pass off of it, because their run defense has just not been good. By the way, Adams listed as questionable. He wasn't listed on the first 2 days of the injury report, limited on Saturday with a hip injury. So they're clean up on aisle injury there. They've been hit by all kinds of runs too. There's been some outside stuff. There's been some inside stuff, some zone, some duo plays, downhill man runs, and man-to-man blocking runs. They've kind of been hit on everything, and it really does come down to being technically sound in your run fits. Are you in the right place? They've gotten caught in some blitzes that haven't been ideal, but all those blitzes have coverage. If Mason Foster or Zach Brown is going to shoot to the outside on a blitz, then the other linebacker is going to have to scrape over, or the defensive end is going to, or the either outside linebacker or defensive end, depending on if they're in three down, 4 down, that guy's going to have to pinch in and not make it so it's a 4 human-sized hole for a running back to run through. You just can't have that, and that's putting Clinton Dix or DJ Swearinger in tough spots coming down to try to fill a giant hole, and neither of those guys have been. DJ's obviously been pretty good at it. Is not been good at it at all, which has hurt them as well. So there's just a lot of factors as to why this run defense has not been good, but it's all stuff they did well earlier in the year. So if they can shore this up over the last month, they can return closer at least to the form they had early. But because as you said, has not been good, and that sets up the play action stuff. Their linebackers suck up, and then you got all these big plays over the top or intermediate stuff that's 20 yards in the middle of the field. So you get a guy like Golden Tate on one of those routes, and he can take it to the house.
Well, on the flip side, offensively for Washington, they really got to look to throw on the secondary because they're just banged up, they're beat up, they're not playing at a high level. Philly's pass defense is one of the worst in the league. They're giving up 277 yards through the air per game. So I would think, unless Peterson's just gouging them for big chunks, I would look for Colt to throw the ball, especially if they're getting those weapons back.